Hey guys, so some of you might remember when they built these boxes next door to the old Japanese farmhouse, these block walls ran right up to the street, and then they decided it was too hard to get the cars in and out because the street's so narrow with those block walls in the way. So they cut them off, basically, but they didn't cut this one off. They left that one running right out to the street, which meant that when we drove out our driveway, we had to swing really far to the right and then turn left so that we didn't clip that block wall, because you can see it sticks out there, right? So this week I was driving out the driveway, and as I got to the entrance here, on the right hand side were two people with three big dogs on leashes, and they stopped to give me an inch to get past. So I tried to get round and just clip that block wall with the bottom of the car, and as you can see, it broke two bricks. So, as we worked out recently, or previously, that silver roof there that we painted a while ago at the back of the old farmhouse happens to be the same colour as this car. So there's the damage. So I just sanded it roughly, because it's an old car by Japanese standards, so just gave it a sanding and used that paint from the silver roof, which I have actually done on this car before. And the result was not fabulous, but not too bad. So that sort of solved the car problem. However, the wall problem was more complicated because it belongs to the people next door. So we had to have a meeting with the people next door and big discussions and lots of sucking through the teeth. What should we do? What should we do? And I just said, I'll fix it. But they, oh, should we call the police? Do we need to tell the police because there was a car accident? And should we call the insurance company? Most of this was going on between those two people next door and my wife. And I was just sitting quietly, and I just said to them, I'll just fix it. And I said to them, I'll fix it for you. And I said, you can choose if you want me to make it exactly like it was before, or if you want me to take those two top bricks away so that nobody else clips it. And so they decided that we'll go with that. So the unskilled block layer. So you could see the cutter being used there, the grinder, because they ran steel reinforcement horizontally between the bricks, which I didn't know about. And that's why the first brick was hit and the second brick went with it. But it also made it really hard to separate those two bricks from the rest of the wall because of that steel reo. It was really tricky to get at. And then I noticed that that brick that I'm working on there actually had a big crack in it, so that had to go too. And then I decided that that's not such a bad thing, because the one at the very front, closest to the street, you can see there next to the blue bucket, it's the one that's got the face on it to go at the end, and it's actually in okay condition. So okay, this makes sense. Get rid of this number 3 and put the facing brick there. But it was really hard cutting that reo. It was down inside the brick. But I didn't want to hit the brick because the brick's so overlapped with the one next to it that any impact on that brick there will possibly damage the one that the old guy's sitting on. So it was really tricky. And then I decided, wait a minute, if I loosen that up there, I might be able to just slide that brick off. There we go. And just left the reo there instead of trying to cut it off. And then just neatened it up basically and got it ready for the mortar. So their plan would have involved hours of faffing and paperwork and probably a couple of $100. They wanted to use insurance, house insurance, and there's all sorts of goings on. This whole project took about 3 or 4 hours probably. It was a little bit stressful. I missed some of the video, guys, because I was a bit stressed about this one, because usually I've just got to keep myself happy. If I'm happy with the standard of the work, that's fine. In this case, I had to keep them happy. So there was a little bit of stress on this one. So here's the result. Obviously the mortar was still wet at this stage, so you can see where it is. But once it dries and it's the same colour as the rest of the wall, it should be an acceptable thing. I heard them talking to each other. The neighbours were out there looking at it, and they were going on about how fabulous it was. That's a good thing. And considering I did the damage, they were pretty reasonable about sort of accepting responsibility. In fact, after the job was finished, some of you will recognise this. Yes, it's the Present of Doom. Always associated with some sort of unpleasantness. However, in this case, took it in the spirit that it was intended. It's their way of saying thank you for doing it. So they were pretty reasonable and pretty fair and pretty accepting of everything that happened, which was good because we got to live next door to them. Anyway, there was that. More videos coming soon.